Namaskar. Welcome to the online platform. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Sahoo, Assistant Regional Director, IGNOU Regional Center, Bhubaneswar. Today, I will discuss on project and dissertation work. This project and dissertation work is a very much mandatory for all the learners of various programs. Today, I will show you in which the programs project and dissertation work is very much compulsory. Without completing the project and dissertation work, the program is incomplete. So first let me show you in which of the programs that project and dissertation work is incorporated. We have project work, a dissertation work in MA in distance education, MA in education, MA in rural development, MA in psychology, MA in economics, MSc DFSM, master degree in computer application, postgraduate diploma in automation, postgraduate diploma in educational management, PG PPED, DNHE, DWM, and DEC. So in these programs, the learners have to carry out the project and dissertation work. Today, I'll focus on MA education dissertation work. How to prepare synopsis, how to submit the synopsis at the regional center for its approval, and after its approval, how a student can pursue or undertake the dissertation work for the completion of the program successfully. Now, first come to the point, role of program guide. The learners must have received the program guide from the headquarters. If you have not received the program guide, you can download the program guide or project guide or dissertation guide from IGNOU course, so that you can have sufficient knowledge about the project work or dissertation work in MA education. Because today I'll focus on MA education dissertation work. So in this project work or in project guide or guide which is provided to you, you can refer to many instructions. So there is a detailed instruction given to the learners. Then there is also instruction for selection of topic for research work. Then there is also research format, and this research format each and every learner has to undertake or follow it. Then there is also need of selection of guide for research work, because it is a research work which should be guided by a approved guide from either IGNOU Regional Center or Program Study Center, or the student can select a guide must have the eligibility condition or must fulfill the eligibility condition set by the university. Then come to procedure for writing project or dissertation work. There is also certain procedure the student has to follow it for writing the project and dissertation work. Then there is also a date for submission of synopsis. There is also a date for submission of final project. And generally it happens that the student is supposed to submit the dissertation or final dissertation in the month of March for June term and examination. And if the student submits the dissertation in the month of September, we consider it for December term and examination. Then when the student submits the dissertation, final dissertation, there is also uh, the student has to face the vivas, and these vivas is conducted at RC Bhubaneswar, and the student will be communicated by RC to face the vivas. So then there is a also, after completion of these vivas, we used to or the regional center used to prepare the award list, and this award list is sent to the headquarter for validation or for updation of marks in the grade card. That is the publication of result. So this is all the informations are included in the project guide or dissertation guide. The learner has to refer to it before starting the project work or dissertation work in MA education. Then there is also very important information I have to share, that selection of guide. The student has to select a guide for the research work, especially in respect of MA education. And to whom you contact? Now, generally the student is advised or instructed to visit the study center or program study center where the program is allotted. Then if the study center is unable to provide the guide to the student, the learner is asked to meet the regional director or visit the regional center. Or the learner has also the right to select a guide from his location or from his locality, fulfilling all the eligibility conditions of the guide should fulfill. The guide should have a PhD degree, and along with that 5 to 10 years teaching experience, so that he can guide the student or learner. So these are the eligibility condition which has been set by the university or by the concerned school for pursuing the project work in particular field or particular discipline. Then another important information I want to share, selection of topic. How to select a topic for research work? The student has to know very carefully. Before starting a research work, before commencing a research work, the student has to visit the Google. And in the Google, he can find out what are the topics are available for research work, so that he can pursue the research or he can select a topic for his or her research work. So he is advised or she is advised to use the Google format. Then the student is also advised to visit or go through the e-journals which are available on e-platform or online, so that he can have sufficient knowledge to upgrade, so that he can be able to select a topic for his research work. Then he can also be advised to refer to research articles, because there are many research articles which are published by a researcher. So he can visit these articles, or he can go through these research articles for his research work. Then he can also be advised to refer to different magazines, which is also be helpful for the research work, because these magazines can give ample scope to the learners or to the researcher to find out the topic for his research work. Then there are PhD theses which are available online. The researcher is advised or the learner is advised to refer to those PhD theses for their research work in MA education. Then student is also advised to visit national or state libraries. These are very important depositories of e-journals or books or magazines, so that before starting the research work, he can have sufficient grounding knowledge about the different type of topics which are available in in the areas where he has to undertake the research work. Then there is also e-library, which also the student has to visit, so that he can get information about the topic which on which he has to undertake the research work. Then we come to writing of synopsis. This is very important part that the learner has to understand. Before uh, undertaking the dissertation work, the student is advised to write a synopsis. What is synopsis? Now, synopsis is just a skeleton. It's a skeletal format, and this skeleton format will be provided with blood and a place, and so that it will be a complete human being. This skeleton or skeletal format is just a called as a synopsis. Then use of proper research procedure. The student, the learner is advised to follow the research procedure, proper research procedure, so that the dissertation or project work can be completed, or can be useful, or can be in a better format. So then guidance of the research guide. He or she has to take the assistance of a research guide, because the research guide will help them to modify or to amend or make correction in the synopsis or final project. That is why research guide has a bigger role to play in, particularly in the writing of synopsis or in the writing of dissertation or project work. Then come to visit of national and state libraries. Already I have highlighted the learner has to visit the national or state libraries for undertaking the research work, because he should have the grounding knowledge, so that this knowledge can help them to complete the project work or synopsis. Then come to referring to books or e-journals, that I have already told you that the books or e-journals are also secondary sources. These sources can be utilized for your synopsis as well as the project or dissertation work in MA education. Then come to correction of synopsis by the guide. When you prepare the synopsis, then there is also need of correction, because that correction will be made by your guide, and that guide will be either allotted by the study center or regional center, or by himself or herself, so that this synopsis, after its correction, the synopsis can be deposited at the regional center, so that necessary approval may be sought on these synopsis. Then come to addition or deletion of facts. The learner is advised by the guide to add some facts or delete some facts which are necessary and which are also unnecessary in the view of the correction of synopsis. Then come to submission of final synopsis for approval. The learner is advised by the guide to submit the final synopsis at the regional center for its approval, because this is also approval is needed for this project work or dissertation work. So that is why the learner is advised to submit the final synopsis at the regional center. Then come to data collection and field work. That is very, very important for a researcher or a learner who is pursuing research work, particularly in MA education or other programs. Then visit of Google. That is very important for collecting data from Google format. Then another is visit of national and state libraries. Already I have highlighted, this is an important depository the student has to visit to collect the data or to collect the secondary data. Then another important information is study of e-journals. That is also important data or secondary source the student has to collect it. Then come to visit of e-library. That is also important for on the part of the researcher or on the part of learner to collect data. Then visit of places for data collection. If the student has mentioned the places where he or she has to cover the place, so that place should be visited by the researcher or by the learner to collect data from that area. Then use of questionnaire, that is use of questionnaire is very very important for collecting data, because through this questionnaire the student can collect the data from the participants. Because if the student is selecting a particular area where the population is more than 1 lakhs, and the student has to visit that place and distribute questionnaire to the participants, so that through questionnaire the learner can collect the data from that area. And with the help of this questionnaire the student can collect the data, and these data can be compiled and stored for its use in the research work. Then the learner or researcher can use also interview method. If the learner or researcher has taken or selected the area where he has to interview the people, he can also visit that place, and with the help of interview he can collect the data from the people or from the that participants. That is also permissible. Then come to use of Google format for data collection. The researcher or the learner of MA education can also use Google format for collecting data, so that he can easily send this Google format to each and every participant for collecting the data, and this data is very much important or confidential, and that data can be stored and compiled together. So after or through different methods he can collect the data and compile or store in the data format, so that these data can be utilized for research work. Then come to research procedure and format. What kind of research procedure format he or she has to follow? First, in the research procedure, the learner has to introduce the topic. On that topic, he or she is pursuing or executing the research work. He has to introduce the topic very clearly, so that the research work or the proper dissertation work can be done. Then objectives of the study, he has to mention the objective of the study. For that purpose he has to clearly write 5 to 6 objectives, or more than he can also point it out. Then scope and limitation of the research, that is also very important, that the research topics should have a proper scope or limited. So if suppose in Odisha somebody is undertaking the research work, it should be limited to a particular area. It should not be vast, so that collection of data will not be a problem. So that is why scope and limitation of the research work is very much important for on the point of view of a researcher or a learner. Then methodology the student should apply in the research work. Either he should follow the you can say analytical method, statistical method, or he can both he can also apply the in the research work. So proper methodology he should mention or she should mention in the research work. Then survey of literature, that is very very important, that what kind, if the student or learner or researcher as undertaken the research work, he has to point out what are the secondary sources or what are the books he has referred or he has focused on his research work. So one by one each author and its work should be analyzed in the literature. So 4 to 5 or 4 to 5 authors and their works should be highlighted properly in the survey of literature, because these are the books which help the researcher to complete or to focus on its research work. Then use of tables. Use of tables also can be utilized, And use of diagrams or graphs can be also utilized in the research work. Use of different kind of tools and aids can be also utilized in the research work. So these are the procedures. Also, it can be utilized by the researcher or learner in particularly MA education program. Then come to research procedure. What kind of research procedure the student has to adopt? Because I have already mentioned some of the important items which are included in the research procedure or format. Another some of the important items are sampling method. Because if you in your area, if you are taken an area, so where the population is more than 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, you cannot research on that area. You have to take a sampling, you have to apply the sampling method. You have to either take 1000, or you have to take 100, or you can take 500, so that your resource collection of data will not be a problem. That is called sampling method. For 5 lakhs people, you have to take 5000 population. 5000 population, you have to take 500. So that it is called sampling method. Then after sampling method, you have a statistical analysis. Whatever the data you have collected, that you have to put in a statistical baseline. So after statistical analysis, so your conclusion you can find out, or you can reach at a point where the conclusion can be drawn. Then come to description of the facts. There are some certain facts you must have highlighted. These facts should be written or should be described in a proper way, so that it can be in a proper format. Then you can know that after description of the facts, you have to point out your findings or conclusion. That what should be your conclusion, or what is your conclusion, or what is your findings after using your statistical analysis or description of the facts. Then you can utilize the footnotes. That is also very much important, that in the while using or while describing the facts, what are the important books you are referred to, that you can at the end of the chapter you can point out, these are the books I have used for the describing the facts. That is called footnotes. That footnotes can be also utilized in your research work. Then bibliography. Bibliography is consisting of primary and secondary sources. What are the primary sources you have? What are the secondary sources you have that you are referred or that you have highlighted in your research work? That should be mentioned in the bibliography. So that should be mentioned in the bibliography, so that a proper research work has been done. So that it is also advised to the learner that you have to mention what are the books you have referred to, what are the primary sources you have referred to, so that it should be written in a proper format. Then appendix of photographs. If you have visited the places where you have undertaken the research work, so that you should take a photographs, and these photographs should be pasted in your research work, or that is called appendix. So these are the important items I want to share with you, so that you can have proper knowledge how to pursue a dissertation work in MA education. So if you want to know much about, so you can contact us. This is a contact address: IGNOU Regional Center, C/1 Institutional Area, Bhubaneswar. And our mail ID is rcbhubaneswar@ignou.ac.in. And our office phone number is 0674-230-1348 and 230-1250 and 0674-230-1352. Or you can also contact 0674-2300-349. So these are the important phone numbers which are given to you, so that you can contact us, or you can send a mail to us, so that you will be properly guided at this point of time, because this is a very critical time we are passing through it. So we have to very cautious, stay home, be safe, and at the same time pursue the research work or dissertation work on online format, so that you can be able to complete your program successfully, or you can be able to complete your project work or dissertation work in MA education or in other programs. So before winding off the program, so I want to say a few lines that you have to submit a synopsis at the regional center. So for its approval, if you are pursuing MA education, for that you have to write a synopsis in the research format and you have to submit at the regional center for its approval. It is approved by the external expert. So then you will be allowed to pursue your final project, or you will be allowed to submit the final project. And this final project is followed by conduct of vivas, and these 5 hours is conducted at the regional center, and you will be communicated through mails and SMS, and so that you will be able to appear the vivas. Then the final result is declared, and so that your program will be completed after completion of your project or dissertation. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some information on dissertation in MA education. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.